Welcome back, everybody, to the deep dive. So we're diving into some really fascinating, unique, healthy habits that are going to help us achieve a balanced diet in 2025. And we're not just talking about the same old eat your veggies advice. We're going beyond that. This is all about exploring some surprising and actionable tips that we found in our source material.
Absolutely. And I think what's really interesting about this article is that it emphasizes going beyond just simple food restrictions. It's about embracing a more holistic and a mindful approach to what we eat, really getting in touch with our food.
I like the sound of that. So the article that we'll be exploring today is called 5 Unique Healthy Habits for a Balanced Diet in 2025. Elevate Your Wellness Journey.
Very catchy title.
Right. Elevate your wellness journey.
Right.
I like that. So let's jump into that first habit that's all about embracing plant-based proteins. Now, we all know protein is essential, but I'm curious about this idea of shifting our sources a little bit. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's a trend that we're seeing more and more these days, and for good reason. The article highlights how incorporating more plant-based proteins can be great for the environment. It can align with your ethical considerations, and, of course, it offers some real health advantages.
Yeah, when we talk about health advantages, we're not just talking about like tofu and tempeh. What are some other plant-based protein sources that people might not be as familiar with?
Oh, there's so many. You've got lentils, beans, quinoa, even certain types of nuts and seeds are packed with protein. And what's great is that a lot of these are also excellent sources of fiber, vitamins, and minerals. It's like a win-win.
Yeah, the article mentioned lentil bolognese and black bean burgers, and suddenly I'm feeling really inspired to get creative in the kitchen.
Exactly.
Hmm.
It's all about finding ways to make these plant-based proteins work for your taste preferences and your lifestyle.
So true. Okay, so habit number 2. This one dives into the world of the gut microbiome. Now, I have to admit, the thought of trillions of microorganisms living in my gut is a little bit uh, overwhelming, to say the least.
It's definitely a lot to wrap your head around, but when you really think about it, it's pretty fascinating. This whole community of microorganisms, this microbiome, it plays such a vital role in so many aspects of our health.
Yeah, I've heard about the gut-brain connection, but I'm curious to learn more about what other ways the microbiome can actually impact our overall well-being.
Well, it's involved in everything, from digestion and nutrient absorption to immune function and even mental health. There's more and more research coming out all the time showing just how interconnected our gut health is with our well-being in general.
So how do we actually take care of this internal ecosystem? The article mentioned prebiotics and probiotics, but I'm not entirely clear on the difference between the two.
Okay, so think of it this way. Prebiotics are like the fertilizer for the good bacteria in your gut. They feed the good guys.
Hmm.
And then the probiotics, those are the actual good bacteria themselves.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
So what are some easy ways that we can actually incorporate both prebiotics and probiotics into our diets?
Well, the article gave some great examples. For prebiotics, think onions, garlic, asparagus, bananas, foods that are high in fiber. And then for probiotics, you've got yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, and kimchi, all fantastic sources.
Fermented foods, right? It seems like those are having a real moment right now in the world of health and wellness.
They are, and for good reason. It's a really fantastic way to introduce those beneficial bacteria into your gut and just support a healthy microbiome overall.
Love it. Okay, on to habit number 3. This one might surprise you. It's all about mindful snacking. I always thought snacking was a diet no-no.
Yeah, it definitely gets a bad rap. But actually, the article suggests that it can be a part of a healthy eating plan when done mindfully.
So it's not about grabbing a bag of chips when you're feeling peckish. What makes snacking mindful?
Well, it's all about choosing those nutrient-dense snacks that will provide sustained energy and help you avoid overeating later on. Really thinking about what you're putting into your body.
So instead of reaching for processed foods, we should opt for snacks that offer some real nutritional value.
Exactly. And when you do snack, try to slow down, savor each bite. Avoid distractions and really pay attention to the taste and the texture of what you're eating. It helps you feel more satisfied and prevents you from just mindlessly munching.
Yeah, those are great tips.
Mm.
I love that. It sounds like mindful snacking is all about making intentional choices, being really present in the moment.
It is. It's about tuning into your body's hunger cues and nourishing yourself with foods that make you feel good.
Absolutely. Okay, so far we've covered plant-based proteins, gut health, and mindful snacking. What's the 4th habit on our list?
Well, now it's time to talk about hydration, but with a bit of a twist.
Okay, I'm intrigued. We all know we need to drink water, but is there more to it than just filling up our water bottles?
There is. The article actually encourages us to think beyond plain water and explore beverages that offer additional benefits, almost like hydration with a purpose.
Hydration with a purpose. I like that. So what are some examples of these supercharged beverages?
Well, think infused water with cucumber and mint, for example, or some soothing herbal teas like chamomile or ginger, or even coconut water for a natural electrolyte boost.
Coconut water. I usually associate that with sports drinks.
It's a great natural alternative, plus it's typically lower in sugar and calories than a lot of those commercial sports drinks.
That's good to know. The article also mentioned vegetable juices, but with a word of caution.
Yes, always check the label and make sure there's no added sugar hiding in those seemingly healthy drinks.
Yeah, it's so easy to assume that just because something says vegetable juice, it's automatically good for you.
Exactly. And speaking of good for you, our final habit takes us back to nature and the power of seasonal eating.
Oh, I love eating with the seasons. There's nothing quite like biting into a perfectly ripe strawberry in the summertime or a juicy peach.
I agree, and it's about more than just flavor. Fruits and vegetables are actually at their peak nutrition when they're in season. They're packed with vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants.
So it's not just about taste. We're getting more nutritional bang for our buck as well.
Exactly. Plus, it's a great way to support local farmers, reduce your environmental impact by choosing foods that haven't traveled long distances.
I love that. It's a win-win for our health and the planet.
It is. And it can also be just a fun way to explore new recipes and get creative in the kitchen. Challenge yourself to try new fruits and vegetables each season, and you might be surprised by what you discover.
I love that idea. Okay, so just to recap, we've covered 5 unique healthy habits: embracing plant-based proteins, cultivating a healthy gut microbiome, mindful snacking, diverse hydration, and of course, seasonal eating. It seems like we've got a pretty fantastic foundation here for a balanced and healthy lifestyle.
We do. And it's important to remember that all of these habits are interconnected. They work together to create a synergistic effect that can truly elevate our overall well-being.
Now, before we dive into the second part of our deep dive, I want to encourage all of our listeners to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the rest of this conversation.